When you harp on your right to distinguish between men and women, are you afraid that you're going to be attracted to trans women?
I'm not.
You, sir? Are you positive?
This next clip is Michael Knowles from the Daily Wire, who we all know and love, or maybe you hate him. I don't know. But he's speaking at a college, and a trans student, a man who identifies as a woman, so a trans woman, I always have to kind of go through the little exercise there to figure out if I call it a trans man, trans woman, whatever. Trans woman, man who thinks he's a woman, tries to debate Michael Knowles, and it really devolves into kind of this weird thing where at the end, I think the trans woman is hitting on him. Anyway, let's check it out.
Hi, Michael. My name is Demi. In the recent past, you've advocated for the outright eradication of transgenderism from public life with the claim that the supposed right of confused people to pretend to be the opposite sex necessarily infringes on your right to distinguish between men and women. I'm standing here now, a biological male, wearing a dress with a pair of leggings. Do you sincerely believe that I should be subject to punitive justice on the basis of what I'm wearing? And if so, are you willing to turn yourself in for wearing women's panties in your gay college film?
Oh, just look how angry this person looks. And also, dude really thought he had a gotcha there because of this college film thing. But, bro, you're not fooling anybody. All right? I'm sorry. You're not. That's a dude. Come on, man. But just that expression of just pure anger in that person's eyes, man. Let's see what Michael says.
Well, I'll take those questions in order, I guess. The first one, I would encourage you to behave as a man, is what I would do, because you are a man, and I don't know how exactly you came to the point where you think you're a woman or very much would like to be a woman, but you aren't. And I don't think anyone who is affirming your delusion is helping you. I don't think that they're actually an ally of yours. I think they're lying to you, and I think it's very disrespectful, and I think it will not lead to your flourishing. I think it will only immiserate you. And so you might hate me for telling you the truth, but I think the truth will set you free. And furthermore, your masquerading as a woman does infringe on the legitimate rights of other people, the rights of women to have their own bathrooms. I don't know if you're an athlete. I'm not much of an athlete myself, but the rights of women to have their own sports leagues and the like. That is not something that you have a right to do, no matter how sincerely you believe the fantasy that you're a woman. As to that Yale thesis film,
that last part is always the part that you never see addressed by the other side. So this guy, this trans woman, this man who dresses as a woman, will never address how he makes other women feel by entering into their spaces, by infringing on their right to privacy. He will not address that. They never do. They never will. Because what are you going to say? Yeah, I know I make women uncomfortable who maybe don't want to see my penis. I know that that's a problem for them, but you know what? They're just going to have to deal with it. You never see that addressed at all because they have no good counter argument, right? What are they going to say? Deal with it. I got a donger. Anyway.
This thing dogs me. You know, back in my wayward youth, I was never a transvestite or a homosexual or anything, but I was something even more morally suspect. I was a professional actor. and I played 200 roles, I would estimate, in my acting career. Soldiers, football players, real macho guys. But you play one half gay guy in a Yale thesis film one time, it's all anybody wants to talk about. And by the way, I don't remember the exact wardrobe from that undergraduate thesis film, but I think it was male attire, but it was a bit risque. There's no question about that. The only further thing I will say about that Yale undergraduate thesis film, that is the most heterosexual thing that has ever been produced at Yale University, okay? So in the land of the blind, I guess, the one-eyed man is king. In any case, I think your second question was a little bit more of a joke. Your first question, it seems like a sincere question, and my answer to you is sincere. I'm happy to answer any more questions you have, but I'm not going to lie to you. And I think the people who are continuing to lie to you about so basic an aspect of your nature and the rights that you have in political society are not doing you any favors at all.
Agreed.
So, so having yearned for the days when it was illegal to cross-dress in San Francisco, I'm just very curious why you're so comfortable, wearing drag in these films. It's a really silly.
Sure,
silly it's a
I don't
silly
know. I was an actor and I
contradiction.
wore silly costumes. I don't know what to
Okay.
tell you. If you have a sincere question about the issue or my stance on transgenderism or any advice that you might be seeking, I'm happy to do it. But if you merely want to say that Yale is a bit of a queer school and I was in a student film, I guess I was, and I was basically the most macho guy at that school. What does that tell you about Yale University?
When you harp on your right to distinguish between men and women, are you afraid that you're going to be attracted to trans women?
I'm not.
You sure? Are you positive?
Literally nobody is afraid of that at all. At all, bro. This is so weird to me because it will often devolve into this kind of thing where somehow if you're anti men going into women's spaces or vehemently opposed to something in the trans agenda, it always has to go to,
Oh, I bet you're actually secretly attracted to trans women.
no, bro, I just don't want you going up in a space where my daughter is trying to use the bathroom and doesn't want to see your penis. How about that? Let's keep it at that because that's what it is. So stop trying to pervert my point of view with your assertion that there must somehow be some weird attraction just because I don't want you polluting the space that innocent women in my life are trying to occupy to get away from men. Maybe it's just that.
Say it again. I didn't hear the second part.
Then why is it that you harp on your right to distinguish between men and women? If you can always tell, why is it so hard?
Well, because it's not even merely that you're putting on a dress. It's that you and people who identify as transgender are infringing upon rights and spaces that properly belong to women, and you have no right to do that.
Exactly.
And so when you ask me, why do you care about this issue? And by the way, it's not just me. It's like the vast majority of voters who care about this. The reason is because we live in society and we have political rights, and also because we care for the truth. And the very fact that this always happens with the sexual revolutionaries. They always say, if you oppose, if you don't agree with the idea that a man can secretly be a woman, then maybe you're a transgender or something.
Exactly.
I think the
They always go
implication
there.
is quite clear, which is that you recognize there's something obviously disordered about this identity. That's why in your attempt to insult people who are pointing out the truth, you're accusing them of that very same thing. But that inclination, that impulse to see that as a disorder should be instructive to you. And I think it could help you if you would allow yourself not to just cast it on someone else, but to look in the mirror.
If you ever want to explore your true self, my Instagram is @demigloom, DEMIGLOOM.
Thank you so much.
Gross. Good for Michael for just straight up telling this person, because I think that often people will shy from this, and it's the exact opposite of what needs to happen. And that is to say that Michael said, I think you should behave as a man. You are a man. You should live your life as a man. That's what I think you should do. And I think that it's harmful to you to affirm your delusion. I think that people like this young man in a dress don't hear that enough from people because people are so terrified of offending them. But that's the sort of thing that needs to be said. But if your worldview, if your identity, if your ideology is so fragile that you can't handle someone like Michael Knowles saying, you're a male, you're a biological male, I think you should move through this world as a man because that's what you are. And I think that further, it's infringing on the rights of biological women to have privacy in their own spaces. You should be able to contend with someone saying that straight up to your face if you're going to be so vehemently behind this idea that trans women are real women or whatever you're pushing. So, kudos to Knowles for just saying that straight up to this person's face, because like I said, it doesn't happen enough. People always tiptoe around the sensibilities of this very small minority of people who like to play make-believe. But, eventually you've got to just say straight up, here's what's happening, man. Look, I don't know why you feel like wearing a dress, but you're not going to shove that down my throat or the throat of my family or impose yourself on my daughter, my wife, my female friends who want to have privacy in a bathroom or whatever it may be. And you're certainly not going to impose your will on me to use your preferred pronoun when it doesn't align with reality. And if I choose not to use your preferred pronoun, it's not violence against you. I'm not committing some atrocity. I am acknowledging reality, and you have chosen to now live under a different paradigm, and that's a you thing. All right? You can't impose that on everyone else and expect them to bend at your whims. All right, let me know what you guys think, and as always, please subscribe to the channel. Bye.